Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. So I just wanted to give everybody just a couple more minutes to get logged on and make sure everything is working correctly, and we'll get started in just a couple of minutes. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you everybody for joining us today. We hope you're getting excited about going on your upcoming tour. And as it gets closer to departure time, we do get a lot of calls from folks with questions about what to bring, how to exchange money, where to meet the guide, etc. So we put this presentation together to help answer those questions and hopefully provide you with a few tips to help make your vacation even more enjoyable. So before we get started, there is a couple of things just to kind of go over. If you do have any questions, I did leave time at the end for questions that we could go over, and I will answer those as I can. And then at the bottom, on the bottom corner, there is a chat box, and so if you do have any questions, we'll go ahead and answer those at the end. So please feel free to send those to me, and I will answer those toward the end of the presentation. Hopefully we'll cover a lot of those questions that you may have throughout the presentation, but if I miss anything, then please use that chat box in the lower left-hand corner to ask your questions. So here we go. My name is Amanda Hancock, and I'm the Sales and Marketing Coordinator for Brecky Tours and Travel. If you, like I said, if you do have any questions that I don't answer for you today, or if you think of something later, please feel free to contact me. My email is listed on the page, or you can contact us by phone. Either way. You will hear me refer quite often to our Helpful Hints booklet, and some of you may remember seeing that in your initial registration packet, so I put a picture up so you know what to look for. If you didn't get a copy of one of these, or you simply can't find it, please email us. We're happy to send you another one, or we can help you download one online from our website. And if you do want to download one, there's the website underneath the picture on how to download it. All right, so we'll get started right into your documents. So a few weeks before you depart on your trip to Scandinavia, you can expect to receive a packet of information from our office. Now, if you use a travel agent, it'll come from their office. You can expect one packet of information per couple. And in the package, you'll find some of the following information: a departure letter with some basic information pertaining to your specific tour, a final tour itinerary, your final flight itinerary, some luggage tags, a tote bag, contact information for the hotels you'll be staying at while on tour, airport information, and any additional information that we thought would be helpful for your particular tour. And before you leave the house, you may want to double check some other important documents that you'll need for your trip. The first being, of course, your passport. You'll want to make sure that your passport is valid for at least 6 months after your return date, and that you have a copy or even 2 of your passport and it's packed in your carry-on. You may want to leave a copy of your passport with a family member or a friend, just in case you happen to lose it or if it gets stolen. They can send that to the U.S. Embassy, and it will help speed the process along and getting you a new one. One important thing to know is that you will not need a visa for traveling in Scandinavia. If you're planning to visit Russia, however, you may need a visa, so be sure to contact us and let us know if that's in your plans. So also, you want to make sure that the name listed on your airline ticket matches your passport name, and that includes your first, middle, and last name. And also, in relation to airline tickets, you may want to keep your airline receipt to ensure that your miles are credited to your account. So if you have a frequent flyer account, the airlines are responsible for adding the travel miles to your account. If you notice that your balance is incorrect, please contact the airlines directly, and they're the ones that have to take care of that. We are unable to handle any of that. And finally, if you've booked any independent services with us, say a pre or post tour stay, you'll want to review your vouchers and travel documents before departing the U.S. and let us know immediately if you notice any errors or if you have any questions. There are, on the vouchers, you'll notice that there are emergency contact numbers in case you need assistance while traveling. And also you'll want to note any special instructions on your vouchers. And for instance, train vouchers must be exchanged for an actual ticket before you get on board. And next, we'll move on to your luggage. On the land portion of your tour, we do allow one suitcase and one carry-on bag per person. And luggage handling at the hotel is provided for one suitcase. Thus, your luggage will be picked up and delivered to your room at the beginning and end of your stay. So you don't have to worry about lugging it up the stairs or elevators or anything like that. We do provide 2 luggage tags per person, so you can put one on your large roller bag and then one on your carry-on. And you may want to even put a label with your name, address, and phone number inside your luggage just in case your tag becomes separated. Now, on board the plane, most airlines do allow one free piece of checked luggage on international flights. However, if you do have a domestic ticket, the airlines may charge a baggage fee. So you'll want to check that with your airline before departing to see if any fees apply. And typically, your checked luggage can weigh up to 50 pounds, and the dimensions cannot exceed 62 inches, and that's length plus width plus height. And basically, a large roller bag is what we recommend for your trip because it's pretty much standard. And this would be kind of the picture that we're talking about right here. So because luggage fees and restrictions do vary from airline to airline, if you do have any specific questions, I would recommend contacting the airline directly for more information. And so I've listed just some typical airlines that we use to and from Scandinavia. If you do have questions for another airline that you don't see on this page, please contact us. We can get you that information, or visit their website if you haven't been there before. So now it's time to talk about what to put inside that suitcase. So of course, casual clothing is appropriate on all of our tours. And for the nights that we have dinner included, you may want to bring slacks or a skirt, a nice shirt or blouse, as Scandinavians do dress up a little bit for dinner, but it is entirely optional. Clothing that can be layered is recommended, as sometimes the temperatures can change depending on where you're traveling during the day, especially if you're taking a ferry or something like that. It does tend to be a little bit cooler on the water. Good walking shoes are a must, as sightseeing along cobblestone streets and walking in the mountains of Norway are not really the place for heels and flip-flops. And so for you ladies out there, I have put together this little picture here that just kind of gives you an idea. For the gentlemen, sorry, I couldn't really find anything, but basically a shirt, you might want to bring a sweater and then a jacket to layer. Blue jeans are fine, and then of course good walking shoes. You might also want to bring a raincoat with a removable lining, and so that's always a good choice, or if you want to bring a rain poncho. A light coat or jacket may also be necessary in the morning and during the evenings. And you may even want to bring a swimsuit if you're planning to enjoy any of the pools or spas at the hotels. And finally, I would recommend leaving your valuables at home. If it will create an emotional or financial hardship, it's best to leave it behind. One of the saddest stories I've ever heard was a lady had a set of pearls that she took with her on her trip. I think it was given to her by her mother, and they were lost. And so if you have something like that, it's just best to leave it at home where it'll be safe. In case your luggage is delayed, I would recommend bringing a change of clothing in your carry-on. And if you're traveling with somebody, swap some clothes. You put some clothes in their suitcase, they put some clothes in yours, just in case one bag is delayed. That way you're not walking around in your same old clothes every day. If you are planning a visit to family or friends in Scandinavia, you may want to bring a small gift, and especially if they're extending their hospitality in some manner. Some appropriate gifts include an American flag or a windsock, books, calendars, caps, t-shirts, and other items that are unique to your city or state, college or professional sports team clothing and caps, Native American or country western themed items, And then for kids, anything that's from Disney, candies, puzzles, clothing with cartoon characters, superheroes, that sort of thing. Some other items that you may want to pack in your bag include an extra memory card or batteries for your camera, snacks, and a refillable water bottle. The water in Norway is actually very safe to drink from the tap, and so you can just fill up your water bottle at the beginning of the day and have it through the day to drink. A travel alarm clock and a calculator. Of course, most of these nowadays can be done with a smartphone. Washcloths and shower poof, tissues, sewing kit or safety pins, medications, and that includes prescription and over-the-counter. Sometimes it is a little difficult to locate basic things when you're overseas, such as aspirin. So I always recommend just bringing some with you. You might also want to bring a first aid kit or some Band-Aids, just, if there's a small cut, something like that. For your prescription medications, we did have somebody ask about that, and so I just wanted to hit on that just a little bit. If you do have prescription medications, you can bring your prescription bottle, or if you have several, you may want to make a list and have that list with you and have your contact information for your doctor just in case your medication is lost and you need it refilled. You can have your doctor, you'll have your doctor's contact information. So just a good idea to have along. You might also want to pack a converter and or adapter, and I'll talk a little bit about that in just a minute. Sunscreen and sunglasses, extra eyeglasses or a repair kit, and for those of you who wear contacts, extra contacts and solution, and map or travel information, like if you have a travel book, spot remover. You might want to bring an inflatable pillow or an eye mask. An umbrella is something you might definitely want to consider, or a poncho. You might also want to bring a journal to record your favorite memories of the day, a day pack to keep your sweaters, camera, snacks, and water together, and then plastic baggies, which always come in handy. So the climate of Scandinavia is very similar to that in the northeastern U.S., though it's rarely as hot in the summer or as cold in the winter. So average daytime temperatures in Fahrenheit during the summer months range from the mid-50s to the mid-60s if you're in Norway, Denmark, or Sweden, and Finland. And if you are planning an Iceland stopover, you can expect temperatures to be a little bit cooler from the mid-40s to the low 50s. So just kind of gives you an idea of what the range of temperatures is throughout the year. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between converters and adapters. We do get several questions about that. It's a little confusing. So converters actually change the voltage of electricity to match the voltage of your device. So most North American devices run on 110 or 125 volts, while in Scandinavia they run on 220 or 240. So there should be a label on your device that will help determine if a voltage converter is needed. So this label may be on the back of your device, on the transformer box, or actually molded into the plastic of your plug. And it's often very small, so you might have to look for it. If your device is dual voltage, then really all you should need is an adapter, which you'll see down here in the black. It's the black two-prong plug, and that's the type of plug that you'll need for Scandinavia. And I know there's a lot of questions, will there be a hairdryer in the hotel room? Yes, hotels in Scandinavia will have a dryer in the room, so a hairdryer. And talking about a different type of currency, so Norway, Denmark, Sweden, and Iceland all have their own currency known as a kroner. In Finland, they use the euro. The currency of the 5 countries are not interchangeable, so that's something to note. The easiest place to exchange your money is at your arrival airport. You can also exchange money at the banks and some post offices. You'll find that also most major credit cards, such as Visa, MasterCard, and American Express, are honored at hotels, stores, banks, and restaurants. However, most credit card companies charge a foreign transaction fee on purchases made abroad, so that's something that you might want to find out ahead of time. Please note that some kiosks and retailers in Europe are transitioning to a chip and pin system instead of the magnetic strip technology. If you do have one of these cards from your bank, you will need to set up your PIN. It should be a 4-digit PIN before you depart the U.S. And we do recommend that you contact your credit card company or bank before you depart. When you contact them, notify them of your travel dates so that they will anticipate charges being made outside of your hometown and won't suspend your cards for what appears to be suspicious charges. We also recommend making a photocopy of the front and back sides of your car to leave behind in case your cars are stolen, misplaced, or lost. And then also, if you just want to get quick cash out of an ATM machine, they're readily available. And we no longer recommend taking traveler's checks just because the fees for those are quite high and not a lot of people take them. So on the bottom right-hand corner, you'll notice I created this little chart here, this kind of a quick and easy way to tell how much something is in US dollars. So if something is listed in Norwegian kroner, divide by 7, just to get an idea of how much it is in US dollars. For Danish kroner, it's 6, Swedish kroner 8, and Icelandic kroner is 130. Now, if you happen to be in Finland, you'll take the euro and multiply it by 1.1 to get an idea of what the dollar rate is. So next we'll move on to your airlines. So all of our escorted tour flights are with Iceland Air with the departure from Minneapolis. If you're planning to fly with a group, here's some information that you really might want to pay attention to. We have two terminals, in Minneapolis, and the first terminal is Lindbergh and the second one is Humphrey. Now, Iceland Air serves a Terminal 2, which is Humphrey. If you do have a domestic flight arriving into Terminal 1, you will have to take the free transport between the two terminal buildings. And if you look at page 8 of our helpful hints, you'll see some more information on that. All Iceland Air flights will route through Keflavik Airport in Iceland. Passengers arriving on Iceland Air and continuing on will need to show their passport at customs before heading to the gates for the next leg of your flight. You will not need to collect your luggage. So for those of you that have checked your luggage all the way through, you're flying in Oslo or Stockholm, wherever, as long as your luggage is checked through, you will not need to collect your luggage in Reykjavik. So it will be checked through all the way to your final destination. You will have to switch planes, however, but the layover time is usually much shorter. Say in Amsterdam, you need probably about 2 hours, but in Iceland, you only need 30 to 45 minutes to go from gate to gate. Now, during your flight with Iceland Air, you can expect free in-flight entertainment. However, headphones are for sale, so you might want to bring your own. You will receive complimentary water, soft drinks, tea, and coffee, but you will not receive complimentary meals. Instead, they have snacks and meals for sale on board. Now, if you're seated in economy comfort or business class, you will receive complimentary meals, but if you're just in economy, snacks are about $3.50. Meal items usually range from $6.50 and up. And if you would like to purchase a blanket and pillow pack, those are approximately $7. And so finally, we have a lot of people that do request seats on airlines, whether it's window, aisle, what have you. For those that have requested those, made those requests on your tour applications, we did request those. However, the airlines do have the final say on seat assignments. So we try our best, but they are the ones that make the rules, so we just have to live by those. Also, we are only allowed to assign a set number of seats, so not all of our participants will receive their seat assignments prior to checking in. If your flight itinerary does not have a seat assignment, that information will be provided when you check in at the airport. And you'll want to note that it is not possible to check in online for international flights. If you would like to request a different seat once you get that seat assignment, please do so at the check-in counter or at the gate. So they'll be the ones that will help you get those seats that you want. Now, just a few tips to help avoid jet lag. If your flight arrives in the morning, please try to sleep on board. That will help get you refreshed and ready to go for the next day. If you're like me and you have trouble sleeping on the plane, you might want to try an over-the-counter sleep aid. My go-to is Tylenol PM. So you might also want to bring an eye mask and a pillow or blanket if that will help you to sleep. You might also want to bring a toothbrush and anything else, which isn't liquid or a gel, that you need to help freshen up before you get off the plane. Wear loose-fitting clothing and comfortable shoes. A lot of people try to take their shoes off when they're on the plane, although if you have a tendency To have your feet swell when you're on the plane, you might want to leave those on because it will be really difficult to get your shoes back on once you land. When possible, walk up and down the aisle to stretch your limbs and get your blood circulating. And if the airline has an in-flight exercise video, you might want to try that. It helps to promote circulation and reduce fatigue. You'll want to drink plenty of water and avoid alcohol, caffeine, and carbonated drinks. If you are a contact wearing person, you might want to switch to your glasses because the air inside the cabin on the plane tends to dry out your contacts. And if you do tend to get airsick, you might want to drink a small bottle of ginger ale before boarding and pack a newspaper in your carry-on. The ginger ale will help calm your stomach, and so will the smell of newspaper, which I don't know if it works or not. I'm not one of those that get airsick, but they say that it works, so I put it in there just as a handy tip. And once you get landed and you get to your hotel, spend time out in the sunlight, and this will help reset your body's natural time clock to coincide with your new surroundings. So when you do arrive to Scandinavia, one of the things you may want to do is find your tour director and the others in your group. That is, if you haven't already met them on the flight over. If you're flying on one of our group flights on Iceland Air, then you will meet your tour director and the bulk of your group outside of customs at your arrival city. So your tour guide will meet you outside the customs area. They'll be holding a little Brekkie tour sign, so you'll be able to identify them. So once you get off the plane and collect your luggage, you'll proceed through passport control. You will then see two exits, green if you have nothing to declare, and red if you have something to declare. Most people just go to the green because they didn't bring anything. But you'll choose the appropriate exit, and then after leaving the customs area, you'll continue to the arrival hall where you'll meet your tour director. Again, the little person holding the sign. If you're arriving on a different flight than our group, but your arrival time is similar to our group arrival time, then you're welcome to join the group transfer to the hotel. Please just be sure to send us a note letting us know what your flight number is, your arrival time, and where you're coming from so that we can let our tour director know to keep an eye out for you. If you're flying on a completely different flight that doesn't coincide with the group transfer, that's not to worry. You can choose from several modes of transportation to get from the airport to the hotel. There's airport buses at all the airports, and they have frequent departures that run from the airport to the city center. You can also take trains and taxis at several of the different airports. But if you do plan on taking the train or bus, I just want to note that you may have to also take a taxi from the central station to the hotel. So what they'll do, the train and the bus, they'll take you to one central location within the city, and then your hotel may be a few blocks away, so you'll just take a short taxi ride to the hotel. And then you can meet your group at dinner that night, and the dinner time is listed on your departure letter, which is in your tour packet. So if you do have questions about transfers or want to get an idea of how much it costs, you can look at page 7 of your Helpful Hints book. So once you arrive at your first hotel in Scandinavia, the first thing you may notice is that your room is a lot smaller than what you expect here in the U.S. And not all of them have air conditioning. So that's just something that is just pretty much standard all throughout Europe. All the hotels that we do use on our itineraries do have private bathrooms with a shower or a tub, a toilet, and a sink. So don't worry, you don't have to take your toiletries down the hall to use the bathroom. If you do get to your room and think that there's a fuse blown when the TV and the lights don't turn on, you just think again, because many hotel accommodations in Scandinavia will use key cards, which you'll use to access your rooms as well as the electricity. There's typically a box in the entrance of your hotel room where you can slip your key card in and control the consumption of energy. So that's a nice way to save some power. And some hotels in larger cities will have a guest laundry or offer cleaning services at an additional cost. For more information on these services, I would ask the front desk person to see, how much it is, where it's located, that sort of thing. And nearly all hotels offer internet access in their lobbies at a computer station. But more and more hotels that we're seeing nowadays will have Wi-Fi in the hotel rooms as well as in the public areas. And before you set off on your own, you might want to grab a business card or a map from the front desk. In case you get lost, you can use the business card to ask for directions because it'll have the hotel's address on there. And then you can use the map to help get back to your hotel. In most hotels, you will find a hair dryer, clothes iron, or pants press, along with shower gel and shampoo in your room. So no need to go hunting for those. So most days on our tour, you can expect to depart from your hotel between 7:30 a.m. and 9 a.m., depending on what the day schedule. Breakfast buffet is served each morning at the hotel, usually starting at around 5, so there's plenty of time to eat breakfast. And you will want to leave some time for eating before you depart. Your guide will advise you each evening of the next day's departure time. So just listen for that information before you degroup for that day. You can expect to arrive to your hotel each night around 6 p.m. and sometimes earlier. On travel days, you will have several stops to allow for restroom breaks and sightseeing activities. So we're not just on the bus, 10, 12 hours out of the day. While most tours are leisurely, you can expect to walk short distances each day, sometimes over uneven terrain such as cobblestone. You'll also need to be able to climb the steps in and out of the bus. If assistance is needed, we do ask that you bring a qualified and physically able companion to assist you. Now you'll see down in this bottom right-hand picture, this is Arnie Brecky, our owner, and you can see he gets around with a cane. He's 87, so he gets around pretty good. So we try to keep it easily walkable for just about everybody. So, and you can always choose to opt out of activities if you want to. We've had some people that in Oslo, they don't want to walk all the way through the Vigeland Sculpture Park, and so they can walk a little bit, just to kind of get a glimpse of the park, and then ride the bus around where they meet the group a little bit later. Motorized scooters, however, are not really suitable for our escorted tours. So if you were planning on bringing yours, please let us know so we can make other accommodations. So now here are just a few other random tips that we thought might be helpful and that some of us here in the office wish we had known the first time that we went to Scandinavia. So first, save your poor toes and step over the thresholds as you enter your hotel room. Many thresholds in Scandinavia are raised, and so you'll find yourself stumbling if you're not careful. And also you'll want to be cautious when getting in and out of any bathtubs, as they tend to be taller in Scandinavia than the tubs that we have here in the US. So if you're out on your own and you just enjoyed a great meal at a restaurant, you might find that your waiter or waitress just keeps coming to check on you but never brings the check. So if you find this happening to you, just ask for the check and you'll soon be on your way. And speaking of eating out, tipping in Scandinavia is not as typical, as many restaurants will include a service charge in your bill. So you can leave a few kroner, round up to the next 5 or 10, for your waiter or waitress if they were attentive, but leaving a 20% tip is really not necessary. And while we're on the subject of tipping, we do leave tipping up to your discretion on the tour for the tour director, the local city guides, and the bus driver. You'll find a handy guideline for your tipping in our Helpful Hints booklet on page 13. And you can offer a tip in US dollars, but local currency is usually preferable. However, I know a lot of people at the end of the tour, when they're tipping the tour director, it's just kind of whatever they have left. So they might have a few kroner, they might have a few dollars, and that's fine. And have you ever gotten to your hotel room? You just arrived after a long plane ride, you get to your hotel room, you start unpacking, and your shampoo has just exploded all over your clothes. And if that hasn't happened to you, I can tell you it's no fun. So I always recommend clients to pack shampoo, conditioner, soap, any other liquids that you have in Ziploc baggies, and so just avoid the pain of that happening. And you may also want to bring a small bit of soap to hand wash any items that you may want to rewear. It'll prevent you from having to do a complete set of laundry. And another handy tip, and one that we cannot stress enough, please call your bank and credit card company before you leave the U.S. Don't wait until you're at the airport. Just do it before you leave. Just check that thing off the list and let them know where you're going, for how long, and expect some charges to show up. The last thing you want to worry about when you're on your trip is how you're going to pay for everything when your credit cards don't work. And finally, pack a couple of days before you actually leave. This will give you a chance to hopefully catch anything that you might have missed. So because we unfortunately can't control the universe, things do happen that are beyond our control. If something does happen while you're overseas and you need assistance, I just thought I'd put together a few helpful tips on what to do. First and foremost, ask your tour director, ask for help. From lost luggage to finding a good place to eat, your tour director is there to help ensure that your vacation is as carefree as possible. If you happen to leave your phone behind at your hotel room, you've injured yourself, you need to see a doctor, or you've had something stolen, your tour director is a huge asset in getting the help that you need. If you're on your own or haven't met up with your group yet, you can seek help directly from whatever the source may be, whether it be the airlines, the hotels, or car rental agency. If you happen to get lost, ask help from the locals. Most Scandinavians speak wonderful English, and most of them are perfectly willing to help lend a hand if you ask nicely. And just remember that a smile can open many doors. If you really need assistance right away, be sure to know the local emergency contact numbers and how to place a call while you're in Scandinavia. So you can look at page 19 of our helpful hints for that information. If your passport does go missing, know where the U.S. Embassy is located so you can immediately start the process of getting a new one. And finally, just be adventurous. Don't let one bad thing ruin what could be a great trip. Just think about when you get back all the stories that you can tell everyone. So we did have a few questions that when people were registering, they sent in, so I just kind of wanted to hit on those. First, do we ever depart from our itinerary? And the question is yes, all the time. We love to try and include family heritage sites on our tours when it's feasible. Now, if time allows, we're more than willing to fit a quick visit in. If more time is needed, or if it's outside of the areas of where we visit, then we can help you make independent arrangements. So we've often had people leave the tour for a day, spend time with lost family members, and then meet up again that afternoon. So that's not a problem. Just give us an idea of what you're looking for, and then we'll try and make it work. I've learned some Norwegian. Will I get to use it? Well, yes and no. Most Norwegians speak wonderful English, and your tour guide will speak both. You might also find that most of the workers in Norway are actually Swedish. So you will find that speaking a few words of Norwegian will help if you're exploring on your own. And even if your accent isn't quite dead on, just making the effort is appreciated, and you'll be amazed at how friendly Norwegians can be. What additional costs can we expect? Well, we do include all of your breakfast and most dinners during the trip. Most of the time, lunches will be left up to you, however. You can expect to spend $5 to $15 for a lunch in Norway. However, if you eat a large breakfast, bring a snack with you, and eat a decent dinner, you'll find that really you won't be needing lunch that often. Other expenses are usually of a personal nature, including laundry, drinks at dinner, any taxis that you may need, gratuities for the driver and the guides. And I would recommend bringing a bag of snacks with you on the trip, such as trail mix, energy bars, chips, just anything that you think will get you through the day. Also pack an empty water bottle. As I said, you can fill that up every morning before you leave, and that'll save you $2 to $3 a day just by refilling your water bottle before you leave the hotel. And then on the way back, you can use that bag that you had all your snacks in for all of your souvenirs. And if you are worried about hungry during your travels, not to worry. Each morning you will get a hearty breakfast buffet. There's usually cereal, yogurt, baked goods, hot dishes, and more. And so you won't be leaving hungry unless you decide to sleep in. And when we do include dinners at the hotels, you can expect another wide variety of food, including fish, reindeer, and lamb. If you are expecting a hamburger, I'm sorry, you'll probably be out of luck since there's not a lot of cows over in Scandinavia. And of course, we do make plenty of stops during the day for snacks, coffee, and tea, and sometimes ice cream. And now you know. So at this time, I'll open up the presentation for any additional questions that you may have. And so again, if you do have some questions, down in the lower left-hand box, there's a chat box. Please feel free to send those questions to me. I will try to answer as many as I can. We had asked, will we be able to leave our carry-ons in the motor coach? Yes. Most of the time, the driver will lock that motor coach if he is not going to be with it. So you can leave your luggage. Your luggage will, of course, be stored underneath, but there's usually little bins on the bus up, and then there's storage underneath as well where you can leave, your purse, things like that. So it's perfectly safe to leave your carry-ons in the bus. And let's see. Average tour group size. Typically it's around 30. Sometimes it can be a little more, sometimes a little less. I know some of our popular tours this year, Best and Spectacular, I think they're running around 35 per departure. So, and we do have the small group tours as well. We have one that's leaving today, actually, Taste of Norway. I think there was 12 on that one. And our Norwegian adventure, it's actually pretty full at 24. So we capped that out at 28. So will we receive a copy of this presentation by email? I will be sending everybody a link. I will be posting this to the internet, and so I'll send everybody a link to the presentation online. Yes, CPAP machine. Yes, there is some information about that in the helpful hints. Let me find that information. You can see that on page 17. There's some information that you will want to bring with you to bring your sleep apnea machine with the airlines. A lot of them require, some of them require a form to be filled out. So please check on that directly with the airlines. And if you do have any questions about that, let me know. Size of the carry-on is the same for the planes. Yep, that's fine. A lot of times people will bring like a little day bag as well, a little backpack, like I said, for sweaters and things like that. And that's usually what I keep with me on the bus. My camera goes in there, any coats that I might have brought, snacks, that sort of thing. And that's usually what I have with me on the bus. Can you buy liquor at the airport when we arrive from the U.S.? I believe so, yes. If you go through the duty-free, you can purchase liquor there. There are some limitations, though. Let me see if I can find those in my little booklet here. Now, I have to tell you, the last time I was in Norway, I picked up some aquavit, and because we did some aquavit tasting, and I was going to bring it back. I routed through Amsterdam. So my aquavit was in its little bag, and everything was sealed up. Well, they confiscated it anyway because it wasn't in my checked luggage, which was checked all the way through, and I hadn't seen it since I left Norway. So check the duty-free allowance to Scandinavia on page 4 of your helpful hints, and that gives you some information about what you can bring as far as alcohol, beer, and cigarettes, and that sort of thing. Okay, is there a place to see what kind of gift items not okay to bring through customs? I was thinking of bringing some wild rice as a gift for family members in Sweden. I have brought cheese through to Iceland before. Now, it was in my checked luggage. It was Parmesan, the grated Parmesan cheese, because they used to live over here in the U.S. and apparently couldn't get that in Iceland, and he was really needing some. And so I did check. I believe you can go to the U.S. Like the TSA website, and they can give you some ideas of what's allowed and not allowed. Usually live, any type of live plants or animals obviously are not going to make it through. They do have some other restrictions like that, but I would say check out the TSA website just to be on the safe side. Converter says not to use on electronics. What about charging our cell phones? Cell phones most of the time have the bigger boxes, and so they will convert to 220 or 240 voltage. So you should just need an adapter, which is the black 2-prong. It just changes the plug. So the only time I really have to use the converter nowadays is for anything that just has a plug. It doesn't have the box. I know some older curling irons have just the plug-in, so those you would need the converter. And I accidentally fried my electric toothbrush. because I didn't use the converter one time, so not a smart idea. In fact, if you have an electric toothbrush, you might just leave it at home. Mine got turned on accidentally one time, and it was dead when I got there. So I went a week with a dead electric toothbrush, and it just doesn't work the same. So, do they have room on the bus for a fold-up transfer chair? Yes, we should have room on the bus for that. So that should not be a problem. And I cannot see that bottom part down there. Somebody sent me another question that I cannot see. Oh, here we go. Yes, we will have access to a bank throughout the trip. So, in a lot of the larger cities, you won't have a problem finding an ATM. If you do need to get some money out, just ask your tour director. You know, just say, is there a bank somewhere where we can stop, or you know, we can totally accommodate that. That's not a problem. So if you do need to make that stop, and same thing with if you really do need something that's, I know we had to stop one time because nobody brought an umbrella within the Norway, and it's just pouring. It was just pouring, and so we stopped at a little store, and I think we bought up all their umbrellas between all of us on the bus. So it's not a problem. Do we have any other questions? Let me go back through here and see if I've missed anybody. If you do have any other questions, please go ahead and send those on through. We've still got a few more minutes. I'm more than happy to answer those. Will US cell phones work in Norway? Not typically. Unless you have an international plan, they probably will not. And that is definitely one of our frequently asked questions. If you do need a cell phone, I would recommend purchasing one overseas, or you can get a calling card while you're over there. Most of the time, what I have done is on my smartphone, I will connect to the Wi-Fi of the hotel or on the bus. A lot of the buses have Wi-Fi as well, and I can use Skype or FaceTime, and that's how I can make my calls back home. And so if you do need to do that, I would recommend that. You might want to check your data plan to make sure that they are not going to, charge you an enormous amount for using that while you're overseas. What happens if someone gets very ill? Now that would be where our tour director will step in and helps them to the hospital if they need to go to the hospital to see a doctor or what have you. If they just cannot continue on the tour, we will help make arrangements either to fly them home early, get their hotels if they just want to stay at a hotel for a couple of nights. That's where we step in, and we do kind of emergency control, damage control, I guess, and we'll help you try to get the best care that you can get. So do you have to allow luggage wheels when measuring total allowance? I don't believe so. I think it's just somebody asked, do you allow for luggage wheels when measuring for total allowance? I don't believe so. I believe it's just the actual luggage, the actual suitcase itself. Although I guess with the height, because the wheels would add height, so maybe so. I would stick to a standard roller size bag. So if you have something that's out of the ordinary, definitely measure it and make sure that it meets that 62 inches. And I would go ahead and include the wheels just to be on the safe side. I would err on the side of caution. So what would happen if one needed a dentist, like for a broken tooth? Again, our tour director would help accommodate that, try to find somebody. And that's something, I don't know that we've ever had that happen. I'm sure it's happened at some point, but again, that's just one of those cases that we just try to accommodate as best we can at the time. And then, if it's a quick fix, they can fix it there, and then you can see, your normal dentist, I guess, when you get back. So, will a camera bag with a lens count as one carry-on? I would say it depends on the size of the bag. If you are bringing one of those larger, nicer cameras with its own bag, then yes, I would count that as your carry-on. If it's something that's smaller and will fit into, a larger carry-on bag, then count that as your carry-on. So I know we have one of those larger. Then I'll stuff some clothes kind of around it. So that way I have my carry-on. Now you do get a personal item with that as well. So that won't count as your, you can still have a purse or something like that. So yeah. Any other questions? We've had a lot of good questions come in this afternoon. So I'm hoping that we're getting some of these answers out of the way, and that you're hearing some questions that maybe somebody else that you didn't think of did. So that's kind of the whole point of this, is to knock all those questions out at one time. So we still got a few minutes, so feel free to put questions in. All right, if we don't have, let's just bring up our contact information one more time. So again, if there's anything that if you think of after the call, after the presentation is over, give us a call, send us an email. We'll be hosting another one of these again, probably in about a month, just to catch anybody that didn't maybe make it today. And so feel free to come back if you haven't already left for Norway or Scandinavia. If you come back and you have some tips that you want to share, feel free to send those to us. So we're always looking for tips and information to share with others. So I know the stepping over the threshold thing, that was actually one of mine, because I can't tell you how many times I've stubbed my toe. So that's just, it comes from experience. So we are hoping that you guys all have a great experience when you're in Scandinavia this summer. We're so looking forward to introducing our own little favorite corner of the world to you, and hope that you all have a wonderful summer, and hope to come back with a lot of great memories. So I guess at this time we don't have any more questions that have come in, so I will go ahead and end the call. And please let me know if you do have any other questions that you think of afterward, and if not, we will see you in Scandinavia. Have a great afternoon, everyone.